Good morning, guys. Welcome to another episode of Coffee and Conversations. Actually, I don't know. This one might be a cross between Coffee and Conversations and Straight Talk because we're going to talk about money matters. So, y'all come on in. Let's have a conversation. All right. I hope you got something to sip on. I've got my morning coffee, and we're going to touch on something and have a good conversation about this thing about making money on the continent specifically, but making money abroad in general and making money on the continent. I'm going to dispel some myths about making money. I'm going to talk about some of the negatives of, everybody calling everybody a scammer. There's some out there, but it ain't everybody, beloveds. We have to start learning how systems work, what the point of things is, what the function is, right? And how you can use it to your benefit. Because I'm in a lot of groups now. People add me to a lot of groups. Some of them I get out of, but people add me to a lot of groups. A lot of expat groups, black sick groups, move to Africa or move abroad groups. I even host my own group. You'll see it right there on the screen. Okay, but I get added to a lot of groups. And one of the main questions that is consistently asked is, how are people making money? How do you move abroad and support yourself? How do you get a job? What jobs are y'all getting to be able to leave America? So let's talk about it. Okay, so let's just go ahead and get into the negative or the ugly first before we get into the other fine details. So those of you who already know me and have been following me since I came to the continent know that I blew the lid off of a thing. Okay, and that's all we're going to say about that, except for the fact that the reason that it's relevant now is because I learned so much and I paid attention even before that happened. I had paid attention to some things in watching. Throughout this video, I'm going to talk about or reflect on some of the things that I have said in the past for the people who have been listening to me for some time or who followed me for some time. And now they're going to say, now I get it. Okay, so back before everything fell apart in the Gambia, and those who know, right? And I was still in America and researching everything just like most people do. Every possible thing. I was like a sponge, soaking up every possible thing about life on the continent, moving to the continent, how to do it, anybody that had any tidbit of information, and so I heard some few things, and those were the things that resonated with me, and those were the things that caused me or enabled me to be able to actually sustain myself on the continent. Back in those days, right around the time that whistle, blow the whistle got blown and everything fell apart, people call me all sorts of names: broke, busted, dusty, all sorts of things, right? But they weren't watching what was really happening. And what was really happening is that all the people who came to that country around the same time that I did, that had a whole lot of more money than me, a whole lot. I did come on a budget. I absolutely came to the continent on a budget by myself. And within a week, everything that I thought was laid out fell apart. And at the same time, there were a whole lot of other people that came, that didn't come with me, that didn't come knowing me or any of that. We got to know each other once I was there, but they had a whole lot of money, a whole lot compared to me anyway, right? And all of those people, most of them, all ended up returning for one reason or another. But there was a particular thing that I observed. while everybody was paying attention to buying land and living in a mansion, and you can get this huge place for only $500 a month, right? Phoenix got a bit of wonderful advice that I now know was the absolute best advice that I could have ever gotten. And that was that my local friends took me aside when they saw all that was going on in the diaspora world. And because they saw my heart, and because they saw that I really intended to live on this continent, the advice they gave me was, Phoenix, learn how to live local. Local, people, local. Now, we'll get to the how to make money part in a minute, but there are some critical bits that you need to know. The first is that your mindset has to change. Okay? Reflection number one. Back then, when people were laughing at me, even people in the US laughing at me when I said, come to Africa. And they said, why would I ever come there? They don't this and they don't that and blah, 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 blah. And I said, it's okay. Don't worry. You don't have to come to Africa. Africa is going to come to you. And everybody laughed. They didn't know what I meant, really. They thought I meant African nationals from different countries coming to America. No, no, no. That's not at all what I meant. What I meant was that the world was changing. And a lot of the problems that people have to deal with, the challenges that people have to deal with or have had to deal with around the world in places that people or that the West deems third world, those problems were coming to America. And now, here we are. Hold that thought. Current point number one. It does not truly matter how much money you stack up to come to the continent or move abroad anywhere outside of America. Now that sounds crazy, but let me tell you, unless you got billionaire money, if you do not have a plan to sustain yourself and make money on the continent or whichever country you choose to go to, you will eventually run out of money. And that is the pinnacle reason that a lot of people left and went back to America, or they have a back and forth relationship where they go back to America to work and make some money. But Phoenix was on the continent the entire time, now going into her 6th year, because Phoenix learned how to make money, both on the American side and on the local side, in learning how to live local, shop local, buy local, rent local, negotiate local, and make money in both currencies so that I could have a sustainable life. There's a thought. It's a little bit funny to me now that now in my 3rd country and, settling my life and husband and I launching new businesses and all of those things that now people are like, oh, maybe she knew a little something after all. Because where's the bulk of those folks? Back in America. The very first thing is your mindset shift. Beloveds, you have to get out of job mentality. And it doesn't mean that you have to launch some major business or make any grand investment. Beloveds, here's something you need to know. As a foreign national in any country in the world, you cannot just go there and get a job. You cannot. That applies in America. That applies in France. That applies in Istanbul. That applies in Madrid. That applies around the world. The first time that we are really sinking our teeth into these matters of living outside of the country, these may be new issues for us, but they're not new issues. And now you understand what I mean by it's coming to you, because now as collectively we are looking at making an exit and leaving America, you're now facing these challenges. And the question is, how do you work? How do you make money? Well, it will not be, in most part, it will not be from getting a traditional job. There are few of those opportunities available. Some of us do get them. I did actually, but it was a long process. I'll talk about it more in some of my members only videos. Okay? The next thing is that you also have to look very differently, even at your own profession and or your current business or a potential business that you think you might want to launch. You have to look at it a little bit differently, because things work differently on this continent in general and country to country, right? This is why having someone on the ground is valuable. This is why traveling there before you come is valuable. I didn't. I still made it. But if I'm honest, I will absolutely tell you there were things that I wish I had known differently, and I wish that those who I looked to for advice had advised differently, because I would have packed differently. I would have prepared a bit differently. But was I able to figure it out? Yes. And there was a critical reason why I had that room to figure it out. There was something that I listened to from just one or two of the folks who were already on the ground. I kind of put a microscope and I saw a particular thing that stood out to me. And that is what I implemented for myself. It allowed me to have regular monthly income, and I lived within that budget until I developed the other things. So there is a way to do it, and I'm going to start teaching on that. I'm going to have some webinars, and I'm going to talk to some members only, because this is actually one of the things, right? Those of you who knew me before knew that I had a monetized YouTube channel, right? Okay, let's flip back and forth a little bit between the ugly, the myths, and the reality. I'm going to give you one nugget, and then I'm going to tell you what's coming up, okay? So one of the nuggets is this big thing, this platform called YouTube, right? Now, us folk always want to focus on somebody asking you for something, and you sending somebody something, and that's how people are getting their money. Beloved. There might be. We all know that there are some people. So I'm not calling nobody a liar. Okay? But what I am going to tell you is there was a few of us who were actually paying attention to how this thing works. This particular platform, YouTube, is built very much like television, mainstream television, and it runs on advertiser revenue. And so if you have engaging content, engaging conversations, people coming and watching, and this is why I ask you, if you really support my channel, watch through the ads. Let the ads play. Let the ads play and get up and go to the bathroom if you want to, but please let the ads play, right? Because that's what actually matters. That's how the algorithm continues to give you popularity. They select what the people on your channel like, and that's how you get revenue. So one of those things, just one, I'm not going to give you guys everything, because there's some people who actually are serious about this thing, and I'm going to start talking to the people who are serious, right? So one of the things that I did regularly was do engaging content, keep things flowing. My channel had some good numbers, and so I got a monthly check from YouTube. I'm about to start getting a monthly check again from YouTube. Okay? Now I'm going to start talking to those who are serious, those who are actually relocating to Benin and or relocating anywhere abroad. This applies to you. And or you are also still living in America or in the West, remaining there, no judgment here, remaining there, but life is changing very drastically and you need to be able to secure some stability for yourself and for your family. Okay? I'm going to start talking to those people who are members of my channel. My membership cost is low. There are different tiers for a reason, because eventually I will break out working groups, active sessions. I have a coaching website that is launching. We're going to have a business in Benin working group on there. It is paid because we're going to work and we're going to have things established. So those of you who are actually coming here will be able to live. I'm not going to tell you, oh, come on, follow me, you can get rich. I'm not trying to get rich, beloveds. I don't know what everybody else's goal is. Many of you could do these things and scale them, and you probably could become rich if that's your goal, but that's not really my goal. My goal is to have a baseline of stable revenue that comes in on a monthly basis that I can count on, that I can budget with, that I can keep my bills paid with, and that sort of thing, right? My husband and I have certain goals so that we make a certain amount of money in a particular currency and a certain amount of money in another particular currency, right? So that we have the best of both worlds, if you will. Those are the things that I'm going to start teaching, the techniques that actually have allowed me to be here. As I said, I didn't stack up a bunch of money. People call me a fool, and maybe I was. What I knew in that moment was that I needed a different life experience, and I could not exist in America anymore. I just did not want to be there. My mental health was tanking. I couldn't watch the things that I was watching. I too had been had an experience with police brutality, Sandra Bland style. Yeah. And I was literally, the words that came out of the people's mouth when I tried to get an attorney was that nobody died, so the case wasn't big enough. There you have it. So I couldn't exist in America anymore. I needed to leave. And so I wanted to do that with some urgency, but I also knew my whys. I knew why I felt really called to Africa, because I had never desired to go to Africa before. I've been traveling my whole life and I never really had a desire, but I didn't know what it was like. And then I began seeing videos, because we've been given one perception and the reality was something different. And I started seeing, I've said it before, I started seeing people like Wodemaya, and I was looking at the date and I was like, wait a minute, this was last week and this is what it looks like. He's in Rwanda and this is what it looks like a week ago. That's now, that's Africa. That's when I began to really pay attention. I grew up with heritage and my family, my parents teaching certain things. I grew up in the South, and so these things were always real to me, but I had never really connected with Africa. And then once I did, I followed a mix of people. Some of them were good and some of them were not good. Those who know, right? But just because an experience is a bad experience, it doesn't mean that it can't teach you something. And it did. It taught me a lot, and it taught me how to stand on my own. It taught me what systems I could trust and which systems I couldn't. It taught me how to look at everything that I did differently. My brother also gave me a significant piece of advice, and he said, sis, if this is what you want to do and this is where you want to stay, learn how to monetize your life, right? Now, some people go, oh, I don't want to monetize my life. That doesn't mean selling out your soul. It doesn't mean everything you do has to be for sale. What it means is that you look at your unique skill set differently than you ever have before. And you figure out what ways are actually marketable in that marketplace. You understand? And so what I'm going to say to you as I end this video and tell you what's coming up is that I believe that a lot of you have skills that you don't realize you have. You have nuances within your profession that you have not thought about. You have skills outside of your profession that you didn't realize were monetizable. You have unique things that you didn't realize were marketable, right? And so these are all of the things that I came to terms with during my time going now into my 6th year on the continent, and how I've been able to stay here and sustain myself here and learn what it really means to live local. So here's what's coming. November 9th, Sunday, November 9th. I'll be posting a flyer soon. I should be finished with it today probably. Sunday, November 9th, I am going to have my first live webinar specifically on this, okay? It's going to be called Diaspora to Destiny, Turning Skills into Sustainable Income. And it is going to be for my members only. It doesn't matter which tier you join right now. I will tell you that upcoming there will be additional things for each tier. So you choose where you want to be, right? But this is the way you support a channel, and it's also a way I'm able to support you, because on some of the other platforms, like my coaching platform, I am charging my professional prices. And those people who want to get individual coaching on particular things, I will be announcing the launch of my coaching platform, and you can hire my professional services there. But those of you who are still in your planning mode, gathering information mode, and need good information, but you're truly serious and you don't want to sort through all the comments and all of those things, and you really want some focused information, go ahead and become a member, because So yes, I'm going to be talking to my members much more with the detailed information. I will be putting general information here on the main channel, also sticking to and getting back to the core of what this channel is about: lifestyle, creativity, food, all of those things. Yes, for those who have asked, I will keep the apartment showcases coming. We're going to showcase also some different types of properties, local style properties, as well as even larger villas and things like that for those of you who have larger families, okay? Thank you guys for supporting the channel. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and go ahead and become a member, please. This is also my way that I can give some more detailed information to those of you who are serious at a more affordable cost. Become a member, support the channel, and I'm going to talk directly to you, okay? So stay tuned. November 9th, my first live webinar specifically about earning revenue and sustainability on the continent. These are things that everybody can do. It's not any get-rich-quick scheme. It's not any investment strategy. It's what I did to live, okay? So you guys join the channel, stick around, all right? Get ready for the launch of my coaching site. Thank you so much for being here. Stay tuned for more content.